everyone. I thought today we could do stories about migration. That means if you see the birds now, you might see a lot of birds, especially like in a V, the shape of a V, flying in the air. That means they're going to go south where it's warm. It's getting cold up here, and the birds do better if they're in a place where they're warm. Some birds will stay up here, but some birds, they leave to go south where it's warm, and that's called migration. And I think today we'll do books about birds and migration. So let's get our hands. Open, shut them. Open, shut them. Make your hands go clap, clap, clap. Open, shut them. Open, shut them. Put them on your lap, lap, lap. Creep them, creep them, creep them, creep them. Right up to your chin, chin, chin. Open wide your little mouth. Do not put them in. For ready, I have the first one. It's a real book, which is nonfiction. Nonfiction is real stuff. Birds in Winter. Winter is coming. The birds must leave. It is too cold, and food is scarce. That means they can't find it. Something that is scarce is hard to find. Geese fly south. They make a V. That's that V shape. I'm backwards. They're going this way. But they make a V shape and they fly south. The goose at the point works the hardest. That would be the one in the front, this goose here. It's a lot of hard work to be flying out in front. She is tired, and soon another goose will take her place. So what they do is when this one gets tired, she might go back here, and maybe that one will go up front and take their turn being the leader. Some birds stick around. We'll still have cardinals. Sparrows flock together for warmth. Look at this one, they puff out their feathers too to help them keep warm. Birds must eat more to stay warm. Cardinals eat winter berries. They also eat birdseed. Look how chubby that guy is. Tom feeds the birds. He gives them suet. Suet, it's like a little cake made of seeds and fat that the birds can eat. You put them in these little cages. He gives them seeds. Soon the weather will warm and the birds will return from the south. They'll come back in the summer. Look for the robin. The robin is a sign that spring is here. That's a long way off. We're still in fall going to winter. I have this one called Little Home Bird. Such a cute little bird. And this little bird doesn't want to leave her home to fly south. Little bird loved his home. I think I said her. It's his home. Each day he sat on his favorite branch. He ate his favorite food. He listened to his favorite music. It looks like wind chimes. And he looked out over his favorite view. Ah, thought little bird, home. But one day the wind blew cold and the leaves started to fall. Little bird's big brother wrapped his wing around him. Little bird, he said, did you know a home can be here or there? It may be near or far, big or small, and even hot or cold. And sometimes you can have two homes just like us. It's time to fly south to our winter home, where the food is plenty and the wind's breath is warm. Little bird felt sad at the thought of leaving his home. He would miss sitting on his favorite branch, eating his favorite food, listening to his favorite music, and looking out over his favorite view. But then he had a good idea. He would take all his favorite things with him. Then wherever he was, it would always feel like home. He's trying to pack up his nest. All the birds gathered and their long journey began. Higher, higher, higher the birds flew, and Little Bird followed with all of his favorite things. Little Bird tried to follow close to the other birds' tails for fear of getting lost, but soon he had to lessen his heavy load. So with a splish and a splash, dropped a big branch there. His favorite branch found a new home, much to a dog's delight. Now the doggie's going to play with the stick. And further south the birds flew. The strong east wind blew and swept Little Bird on his way. So with a whoosh and a swoosh, his favorite music found a new home, much to a shepherd's delight. So now the shepherd has the chums. Let me get closer. And further south the birds flew. The clouds clapped with thunderous roar and sent Little Bird into a spin. So with a rumble and a tumble, his favorite food found a new home, much to a porcupine's delight. All the berries fell on the porcupine. And further south the birds flew. After many days and many nights, the birds reached their new winter home in the south, where the food was plenty and the wind's breath was warm. Little Bird no longer had his favorite things, but he discovered lots of new favorite things. Look how pretty. You can see there's a frog there. There's a frog there. All these pretty flowers. And soon it felt like home. So he found some new stuff. So twice each year, along with many other little birds, Little Bird and his family would make the long journey between their two homes. Across oceans they would fly, over mountains and through deserts, with many adventures along the way. I have a couple little sign language things I can show you. To say bird is pretty easy. You just put your hand up here. Bird, a little beak. Bird. And if you want to say nest, you just say nest. Nest. I feel like I'm really close to it, like hands. Nest. I have one more book. It's called Two Little Birds. After much effort, see the eggs cracking? There's cracks in the eggs. Two little birds emerged from their eggs. It's very bright. There's lots of room. Look at the little babies. The little birds did what little birds do. They fed, they frolicked, they grew. One night they saw an amazing sight. Ah, look at all these birds flying away. Can you see the birds? Let's go together. They flew and flew and flew. They flew beyond all they ever knew. Rumble, flash, boom! The little birds tumbled, the little birds tossed. It's stormy. Where are we? We are lost. The little birds did what little birds do. They skipped and they scooted and they flew. They flew and flew and flew. Now what do we do? They're at the beach. Flap, flap, flap. Hours passed. Flap, flap, flap. Their wings ached. Flap, flap, flap. It hurt to breathe. Flap, 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 flap. You can do it. Oh, I don't know. He's getting tired. Phew! The flutter and the chatter of many birds woke them up. Look what a nice warm place they're at now, with flamingos. The little birds did what little birds do. They fed, they frolicked, they discovered what's new. This is good. And this is too. They have new foods. After a while, the young birds thought of home. They remembered a cozy nest, delicious grasshoppers, and the song their father taught them. It's so far, but we are strong. You can see all the places they flew back across the ocean, treetops, there's factories, farms, wires, storms, the city, the moon, the country, all the way back. After much effort, the strong young birds arrived home. Then these birds did what all birds do. They sang, they snuggled, and they started something new. Now they each have their own nests and their own little birds to take care of. I have the craft, I started it and I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't start it. So I want to give you some papers in your bag that you'll have. You're going to get a circle, a little circle. That's going to be the bird's head, and I'll give you 2 googly eyes, so you can put one on each side. And I already glued it, and I realized, oh, I shouldn't. There are, can you see, there's 2 papers here. I'll give you 2, they're shaped like hearts. I'll give you 2 big hearts that you glue on either side to make their beak. And then you're going to have 2 of these circles that are already kind of cut. They have little fringes there, can you see? And there's no fringes toward the front. That's going to be more towards the body. This will be where all the fringes are, is more the tail. So I'm going to take my glue. See if I can point it down. I didn't unlock, Christine. It's after 10. So I want to put some glue here where there's no, see there's fringe here, but there's no fringe there. I'm going to put some glue here. And I'm going to glue his head down. And I'm going to give you one of these. It's going to be his little tail feather. So I'm going to put some glue on his backside. And that'll be back there. I put them all on the same side. The head and the tail are glued on the same side. There's the back. Now what I'm going to do is on the side where I glued everything, I'm going to put the next fold together. So the head and the tail part should be sandwiched between these 2 semicircles. I don't know how far, I can't see. So there's where you can see I glued it. The semicircle's going to be glued there. So I'm going to set them down. I'll put glue all over here. Blip, blip, blip. Now I'm going to match up my semicircles so I can sandwich my bird in there. So my bird will look like this if I open him. See, his head is glued and his tail is glued between the 2 folded flaps. And on the inside, I want to lift his wings a little bit, and you have 2 little bitty hearts that you can glue for feet. So I'm just going to pick a spot. And it doesn't need to be sticking out. Like, it doesn't have to be like, let me see. Glue. It doesn't need to be sticking out like that off his body. It can be up on his body. You'll see why in a second. Put his other little foot on his other side. So we have 2 little hearts, and then he should just sit. He won't sit for me. Maybe if I do the flaps a little bit. Open my flaps a little and help him sit upright. Oh, you old crazy bird. Well, there's a craft fail. There we go. So then he can sit upright. He just needs a little help with those little flaps there. And there's our bird. Thank you for joining us. We still have extra bags left over if you didn't get one from Halloween or one of the previous ones. They're all, when you come inside the door at the library, they're straight across from the door. Feel free to pick up this week's bag, or if you didn't get one of the old bags, you can pick up one of the old ones. We'll see you next time.